Hi, my name is Richard O'Sullivan and I'm going to make a short video on how to unpack and set up the Bionic sound camera. So it's a Bionic M sound camera that I've got here. The only difference in the other sizes is the size of the array microphones, but they clip on just the same in the same places. So you have several sections inside the case of the sound cam, and you can see a tripod on one side. You can see the hub or the head, whatever you'd like to call it, in the middle there. And there's a touch screen at the back there, and the microphone arms are arranged here in this area. So first of all, we'll take out the tripod. Now, the thing to notice about this tripod is that it's a strange design to the normal tripods that you might be used to. You can see that the legs are folded in, so that the feet of the legs are against the head of the tripod. So that's a bit unusual. Normally the legs would go out like that, like I'm leaning one of them out, and the head would pop out on the top. But this tripod is an upside down tripod, and you actually have to bend the legs all the way backwards in the opposite direction. So please note that when you put it away, that you don't fold it the wrong way around and try to fit it in, because it won't fit unless you assemble it back this way around with the legs completely folded upwards, if you like. So actually the tripod is this way up, and you have to grab the legs and pull them downwards as far as they'll go, like that, and then push it back outwards so it's standing outwards. I'll do that with all three, and then it will look more like a normal tripod. So there we go, the column's fully vertically extended and the three legs are out, but they're not extended at all. So I can put that down on the floor, and it's not a very high tripod, but it's a fully extended tripod. Now, that'd be a very unbalanced way to use the tripod, so I'm gonna turn the rings until they release the legs and extend the three legs, and then maybe I don't even need this column height. But again, what I'm trying to tell you about is putting the thing away. Everybody struggles with that when they're not used to it. Basically, you have to have it like this. Take your finger on this little clip here, which you cannot press in until you move the leg inwards a bit. So you have to bend the leg towards the middle a bit, and now this clip is released, and you can now go upwards with the leg as far as you want, and then fold all three legs up like that and put it away again. So it's a very strange tripod, but it's a very good tripod actually. So you put it all the way down and you're in that position. But maybe if you want even more stability, you can actually go one click out and have the legs spread really wide, and then you do get a very nice stable tripod, even if you're going to use it with an extended column like that. So you can do that if you're not going to have very long legs and you're quite close to the ground, for example. So there's lots of possibilities, and then you use those rings on the end here, which I'm going to loosen and then pull the legs out. They're pretty obvious, so I won't demonstrate that, to make the tripod a bit higher. So now we've got the tripod extended to a decent length, stable, and we can put the next step is to put the hub or the central part onto the top of the tripod. Now at the moment this head is loose, so I'm gonna tighten this big screw with it fairly flat, so that when I put the hub on it, which does have a slightly offset weight, it won't go flying off. And I'm going to loosen this top clamping bolt a bit so I can get the hub, grab the hub, and it only goes in one way. Well, I suppose it would go 180 degrees, but that doesn't matter because you can rotate it. So, and then just turn the clamping mechanism there, and that's firmly fixed in. Now, I didn't loosen this second one. I didn't tighten this second little. I'll put my hand behind it. There's a second little knob there, and that one's just for round and round, whereas the big knob is going to let it go in every direction. So that's the one you have to tighten first. The roundy round one doesn't really matter. I'm going to loosen the big knob and let it incline the hub so that the face of it is now perpendicular to the ground. because when I put the mics on, they'll then be flat and not at a funny angle. So that's that. The next thing I can do is I can take a microphone branch. Now they are sided and they're also numbered, so you can see one side has these little copper connectors on it, so that obviously goes with the little copper connectors on the hub, so make sure it's that way around, and there's two magnets that fit into the recess as well. This one has a number on it. Hope you can see that it's number 1 on this label here. There's a number, and that matches a number on the hub, which will be the top one if it's number 1, which is a bit harder to see, but you'll see it when you've got the hub itself. So number 1 goes on number 1, surprisingly, and the clips to the clips. The only other thing to note is there's the middle part of this, I'll put it against the white if I can, the middle part, the furthest tip of this microphone array needs to go under this middle ring. So that goes under it, and then you can just rest it back on its position and it'll clip into place automatically because the magnets will pull it in. So you can carry on doing that for all the numbered ones into their numbered positions. Doesn't matter what order you put them on, obviously, but it does matter what position you put them on. So numbered to numbered, and then the calibration of each mic will be correct. So now all the mics are completely assembled onto the array or onto the hub. So all the array mics are assembled, and now the rest of what we have to do to assemble the unit is on the back. So I can turn it around if I don't bash into anything, and we can look at the connectors on the back. Try to come a bit closer for that so that you might be able to see it a bit better. So on the back there is a dazzling array of connectors, sometimes covered with little rubbery watsits. Now the rubbery watsits are there in case you're in a rainy place and you want to cover up the ones that aren't used to make it a bit more waterproof. Basically they're all different kinds of connectors with the exception of the 2 power connectors here. So there's one in the middle which is actually the power coming out from this guy because he's got a battery inside, and the one on the left is the power that will charge him up or run him from power all the time if you want to. So you can run him in a lab or whatever on power all the time, or you can forget this one, hopefully, if he's charged, which you can tell by quickly pressing this. And I've got 4 out of 5, okay, 3 out of 5 lights. One of them just went out on the top there, showing that my battery is 2/3 charged. So I've got a charging cable and I've got an output cable to my screen. So this actually gives power out to the screen that will clip on in a minute. We've got a network connection cable, so you can connect to a laptop and either remote control or take the raw data and process it all afterwards. And the last one is a funny multi-pin connector which you may or may not have a cable for, and that's to do with connecting a tacho or a trigger pulse signal. You can have 2 different pulse inputs there, but you need the cable that goes into this connector to give you the 2 BNC connectors, which I won't show you now. I'll show you that another time. And the top here is a USB connector which you might want to use. It's because the data is stored internally if you're doing this on its standalone basis, and if you do, you want to get the data off it maybe on a USB stick. So this is just a connector, USB connector for the USB stick in the top here. It's a bit hard to see with the lighting maybe, but you'll see when you've got the thing in your hand. So here is where the screen mounts, so I'm going to loosen this little screw which holds it in place so that I can drop the screen over this kind of moulded shape. And we also have to connect the 2 cables at the same time. So if we look at the back of the screen, it's got a moulded connector which I'm going to drop over that lump on the back of the hub, and it's got 2 cables which are going to connect. So as I say, this cable is the power to the screen, it's the middle one. The USB is the blue one, and that's for the screens. And if I clip it over that, and I can put my little screw back in to secure it, we're all ready to go. So I'm ready for standalone purposes, and I'm now going to hold that little rubbery button at the top in. You won't see this because it's off the screen, but hold it in for long enough and the light next to it will start blinking. Might be able to put it down and show you that, perhaps, I don't know. See the little blinking light there in a minute? There. So it's still blinking away because it's showing that it's booting up. So basically I held that button down until that blinking light started, and now it's going through its boot up cycle, which it's still actually doing even though the screen seems to be coming to its startup screen already. The blinking light means it's establishing connection. Now it's gone steady, so it's completely booted up. So that took about a minute or less, and I can now put that on firmly. So now we're ready to measure. So this is now the standard SoundCam software, which I'll show you in a different video how to set everything up and how to do measurements with it. But basically we've assembled it. We could have put a power lead in, which is obvious, so I won't show you that. And we could have connected a network cable to a separate laptop, but basically that's all you can do. So that's the physical setup of the Bionic M system.